me. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up, so what can make a better me?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. Back to our regular time slot of Wednesday, to the show that probably is the greatest combination of English and Australian since the Beatles shut down Exhibition Street in the 70s. I am joined by my favourite and yours, Big Fazz man, teacher extraordinaire, wind-up extraordinaire, and all things Twitter extraordinaire. How are you doing, Fazz?
Mate, I am up and about. We are on. It's less than 24 beautiful hours until we are on. And I tell you what, if you can't get up and about tonight, if anyone sleeps like a baby tonight, if you don't if you're not up every hour, every 2 hours tonight, thinking, well, what's going to happen? Then I tell you what, you're in the wrong business, because it's game on. It is huge. I'm pumped,
mate. What, Richard? You should do the intros. Shane Warne and Liz Hurley. It is the greatest combination, mate. I'm with you. You know what? I've got to say, I did the teams as it came out, and I've got to admit, my energy levels were quite calm. But then when I saw the team, I don't know what happens to me. It just starts to feel real. I'm ready now. I've already PM'd a few of my Richmond mates, just some real horrific abuse, to let them know that I don't respect them or like them anymore for 24 hours. Battle lines are drawn. It feels real. And let's get straight in to Carlton chat.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me.
Doc kicking a goal. Round one. Love it. Well, I mean, let's talk about it. Gav starts us off. Strong side. We've got Ben here, Ali Hamilton, and I tell you what, that is a niche reference. I like that. What did you think of the team selection? Like, honestly, I'm going to be totally honest. Apart from Peternet not being there, but there is a sneaky Pom suspicion of what might happen with him. I didn't hate it. I actually thought it made sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much spot on to what I thought it was going to be, to be honest. Like, I was talking during the week about what the lineup is, and I think everyone's, other than maybe Corey Durden, who was injured, I think everyone's starting 18 is pretty much similar. It was always just those bench spots or whatever that was going to be the last confusing parts and a bit of a surprise. But nah, really, I was surprised to see Pitnet not play. Obviously, you know, he might not be right, but no, it was pretty much how I thought it was going to go. Ed Curnow has seemed to surprise a lot of people. Didn't really surprise me.
I've got to give Fazz a shout out here, right? Because he did cop a bit of abuse a couple of weeks ago when he suggested Ed Curnow being a lock for round one. And has anyone ever seen Fazz and Voss in the same room at the same time? Because it turned out Fazz had nailed it, and Ed Curnow is there. I mean, it was interesting, and I'd love to know what chat feel about this, because this is my big fear. All right, Voss did a little bit of a thing where he said that I knew Ed was going to be named from this, when he was like, oh, we're going to maybe put a bit of time into Dustin Martin. Now, is anyone else? I don't like that. I don't like the fact Carlton are even hazarding that question, because I'm going to be honest. I think Dustin Martin, arguably in the last decade, the biggest impact player in the AFL. And 100%. I think the best player, in my opinion, receiving the ball outside of a contest. I don't think there is anyone better than Mr. Dusty in space in a big game. Like, honestly, like if you said to me, name me a player, Pom, for your life in a final to play well, I'd probably pick Dusty straight up.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
I don't think Ed is there for it. And I think GBC nails it here.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Spot on.
I think Ed Curnow is there to stop that extraction. And last year, I think there is a man that people are forgetting about, right? And that is Shai Bolton. And I can't believe Carlton fans have forgotten him. He is the guy that gets the ball outside of that contest, running in space that causes havoc. And I think that Ed Curnow is that insurance policy to stop easy ball. Because I'll say Ed Curnow, I don't think he's a great tagger. I think what he's great at is stopping clean ball. I don't think he can stop a guy having 40 touches, but he can stop you having 40 clean touches.
Yeah, and I think, look, the day of a run with player from outside the contest is pretty much, thanks, Dad, is pretty much done and dusted. But what you can do is you can put pressure on that extraction of the ball. So obviously, you know, Carlton will go in with Cripps, Hewitt, Kennedy or Chera, depending on whatever formation, backing themselves to win the ball. But if the likes of Hopper and Prestia, who I rate very highly, start to get on top, then you do have that insurance policy of Ed Curnow, just get in there and just get in the way. Just get in the way, so it's not an easy handball, it's a loopy handball, or it's a, you know, like you said, he's not going to stop them getting the possessions, but he's going to stop it being clean, and that brings other people into the game.
I did like as well the fact that we've got Martin and Silvani in there. And we've had a lot of talk about that. I think the big question mark for me is you watch any Richmond preseason game this year and towards the back end of last year, anyone that had an extra medium-sized player to kick goals causes havoc with their transition game. And it is the answer. The fact we've got two of them there, I like it because I think they're really putting the pressure on. When Mr. Durden comes back, does he go 3 smalls, 3 talls like most sides do, and one of them leaves? I think it's a great opportunity for them.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the thing that really excited me was when Vossi said that, you know, he was speaking about Mitch McGovern, and he said, you know, Mitch McGovern's done the work. He's done the work to be fit and ready to go for round 1. And this is the same about Jack Martin. Now, Jack Martin was one that we all thought, oh, is he fit? Is he injured? What's going on? But we now know this now famous individual programs that everyone's got. And Vossi was clear. He's done the work. He's ready to go. So that excited me. The other two things, someone mentioned it in the comments. Ed Curnow's been picked. Why? He's done a full preseason. Jack Silvani, full preseason. Voss said he's probably in the best condition of his life. Those are the things that excite me. You know, we can get hung up on, is Motlop carrying a calf? Is, you know, whatever. But the fact is that Voss has come out and said that these blokes, they've done the work and they're ready to go. And I think that in itself should get us pretty excited, because I look at Richmond's backline and I think if whoever's going to get, you know, the opportunities, really going to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And I think you've got the blokes like, if you can get 4 goals out of Jack Martin and Jack Silvani, I think we'll not only win the game, but we're very comfortably winning that.
Well, I mean, I can give you a spoiler right now who wins this game, right? Whichever of these trios has a better game. Flostin, Martin and Bolton versus McGovern, Martin and Silvani. Whichever of them trio does better. Both sides now are almost mirror copies of each other.
Yeah.
In transition, Carlton are trying to be like Richmond. Carlton have a huge advantage around the centre. A huge advantage. It is our dominant force, and Richmond's mediocre area. They've always been mediocre from that point. And I don't really worry about TDK going solo this game, because there's no massive evidence that Carlton struggle without Pitnet. It's more they don't get first use. However, they've beaten some teams with just TDK there and JSauce because they gain dominance. And the big issue is when you lose Hewitt and Kennedy. So the workhorses are there. I'm confident this game because told you last week, and I'll say it again, Carlton with Kennedy, Hewitt and McGovern, an interceptor, a 7-1.
Yep. It's
8-1.
And you know, I'm a stats man, and the stats don't lie. The one thing that did tickle my fancy and perked me up a little bit was when I saw Soldo not being named for Richmond, because I thought that was where they could get Carlton. 2 ruckman versus just TDK, but they're playing Nank as a sole ruckman as well. So it's going to be 1 ruckman versus 1 ruckman, and it's on. I think as well, the other bit, and I know this is kind of what I said about Carlton and blokes doing full pre-seasons. Prestia's got a niggle. Short, I mean, I was told Short wasn't playing all the way up until now he's been selected. So they're not going to be 100%. Is it panic? Is it panic from Richmond straight up selecting those players? I don't know. I don't really spend my time paying attention to what Richmond have to say, but I do know that watching the Melbourne game a couple of weeks ago, that I think a few of those boys got a bit of a knock. Yeah, and Soldo is injured. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like when I saw them only name the 1 ruck, and that kind of gets me going.
They do remind me a bit of Carlton last year. We had so many knocks versus Melbourne. There's a lot of injury cloud players, a lot of 50-50s.
Yeah.
And that excites me because Shaw, I was speaking to a few Richmond big wigs who keep their ear to the ground. Shaw has hardly trained since his knock. So they have rushed him in. He is a last-minute fitness test, declared fit. In fact, some of their forums are saying he may be a late out. Right. And that is why Thompson Dow has been named on their emergency. That he's a bit of a surprise there, but he has been deputizing for them in the preseason. So that'd be interesting. Brett, to answer your question, Hollands, interesting fact, fitter than Sam Walsh.
Yeah,
better time than Sam Walsh in the time trials. And historically, has got a bigger engine. And Cowan finished top 15 for time trials in there. So you are looking at probably, I would say, I don't know what our 10th fastest time trial is this year, but I would guess Cowan would probably have got that person. That's one thing Cowan have drafted very well the last 2 years. Guys with incredible engines, but also footballers.
Yeah, I think gone are the days of, and dare I say it because he's just won a Brownlow, gone are the days of blokes getting drafted and coming in fat, a bit, fat's strong word, a bit puffy, a little bit, that baby fat, bit slow, bit unfit. Those days are gone. These kids, they're on diets and bloody training programs from the age of 12, 13. Like they come into the system ready to go. So gone are those days about these kids not being able to run out games. I think you'd be more concerned about physically, like as in copying the hits. But other than that, they're going to be able to run out the game. They're going to be.
I've got to do this because I had lots of fun having this argument, right? I'm going to tell you a little fact. So if you look at Ollie Hollands, and what is regarded in the AFL the last 5 years by his peers and AFL media, the best wingman in the competition is Ed Langdon. I think not many people would debate that. I think Ed Langdon is head and shoulders above his peers. Now, there is 5 kgs between him and Ollie Hollands, which when people say he's undersized, you've got to remember a winger's job is evasiveness. So genuinely speaking, draft picks, there was 15 first rounders who played round 1 last year for a variety of clubs from number 1 to number 18. Genuinely, 78% of them are wingers or halfbacks. So it's easiest position because their job is evasive. So you don't really have to worry about size. But if you are worried about size, I'm going to give you a little POM science fact. The average running speed in the world is about 8.5 kilometers for professional athletes. A 5 kg distance of an impact starting from 5 meters is 4.8 newtons of force, which is the equivalent of being an action man being thrown at you from 2 paces at half human speed. Now, just to put that in perspective, if I chucked, as a former pro golfer, I still go around in about scratch to 2 over. If you were going to throw an action man at me, round 18 holes, I'd still break par.
Yeah. I think, you said it a lot more scientific than I said it. But basically, the fact is there is not one player who gets drafted who doesn't come in ready to go, really. Other than your speculative pick 60s and 70s. They're all ready to go. And I agree with Gavin. Voss is rewarding hard work. It's clear. I mean, Ed Kerno is getting picked because he again is one of the hardest runners. And I said this a few weeks ago and I got buried, absolutely buried. As you said, we've lost our best runner in Sam Walsh. So, of course, you've got to bring in someone like Ed Kerno just to simply get those kilometres up, get to contest to contest to contest. Because footy, yes, it's about disposals and kicking goals, but it's all about getting to the contest. Because if you don't have midfielders who can get to the contest, then you're already playing men down, which is a criticism of a few players who we won't name their names, why they don't get selected, because they simply cannot consistently get from contest to contest.
Playing the best side in the world as well at picking apart a zonal system. So the ability to run, particularly between the arcs for a midfielder in this game, it's probably the hardest game in the league to play. I would say maybe with the exception of Collingwood, who absolutely hemorrhaged the ball through the corridor, which is very hard to defend against. That's why Collingwood have so much success. So I really, really like that. Really, really like that. So for me, I think that's a big, big thing for Carlton. I agree with you. What else have we got here? We got, remember, Ben, don't be eluded by AFL ratings. They take every stat into account for that ratings. It's not specific to the position, so it always cooks it. Josh Dacos would be in my top 5, but I think Ed Langdon over the last 5 years, it's not close.
Yeah.
We've got the lovely Amy. She's moving to Melbourne, I believe. Was it the 6th of April? 4th of April. It's somewhere in April. So welcome to you. Who else have we got? Ed and Charlie reuniting. We're looking at that. We're looking at that. The turf. Let's talk about turf because I have got an expert here in turf management. Yeah. I've given you Newtons, right? What about the turf? That turf. It looks like the Indian cricket pitch curator has come on down.
I'm going to tell you something for nothing, and everyone listening here needs to pay attention, clean your ears out, and have a listen. Everyone's talking about concussions. That's the biggest thing in footy. Turf is the biggest issue in footy. It's simply not good enough. It's not, mate. The one positive we've got about the MCG looking like an absolute dog's breakfast, right, is that our blokes are used to playing on shit turf. Because I'm telling you now, our blokes may as well be training in a bloody Barley Street. That's how shit the turf is at Icon Park. And we're about to go onto a home ground advantage. Because I'm telling you now, that MCG turf is dog shit. I don't care what anyone says. Look down the camera and say, oh, it's going to be right. It is dog shit. It is going to be moving all over the place. And I'm telling you now, my tip, the first 5 minutes, you'll see 6 or 7 blokes slip over. Bang. It's the biggest problem in footy.
Can you imagine, right? Like, can you imagine Old Trafford, the London Stadium, hosting a big fuck-off outdoor concert on their turf the day of, like, a week before the opening? Can you imagine the football? Amateur hour. Imagine the footballers. Just imagine the footballers and imagine Klopp. Imagine the coaches. They would go mental, wouldn't they?
Mental, yeah. Oh, mate, it would be bigger news than what it is here. But I can't believe it's not news. Those of you who know me, I've been banging on the issues of the turf at Icon Park for a very long time now. And now that it's at the MCG, people are starting to talk about it. It's a massive issue. One, the players across the competition don't wear the right boots. And that's for every player. 600, they do not wear the right boots. They wear these stupid little blade things. No wonder blokes are doing calves and knees and all that. It's the turf. It's the boots. They've got to get this right. They have to get it right. We saw it. Mate, if one motherfucking player walks out there with these fucking blades on when the turf is going to be moving like that all night, I'm going to lose my marbles. But you watch, write this down. Everyone get your pen, write it down. Harry Mackay, in the first 30 seconds, will go out for a lead and slip over flat on his ass. because he fucking did it when we played Fremantle. It was drizzle and rain, and they went out with blades. Apparently, and I heard this from, they didn't even take stops over with them. They just took the blades, and we slipped over for a quarter and a half. You watch it, mate. First 30 seconds, Harry Mackay lead out to ball, he'll slip straight on his ass. It's fucking ridiculous.
I can say, to validate Fazz, I grew up in the north where it rains a lot, and I'll tell you what, if you wore them stupid blades, right, you had more chance of staying upright 22 beers deep in the Arctic. I'll tell you, like, it doesn't matter how good your balance is, you do slip. I agree with you. I have heard the blade thing. The solution is, you know what I'd like to see, and they banned them. And I'm old, but do you remember alley studs, the aluminium, round-ended ones? And like when you put your foot in the ground, I tell you what, you'd stay upright in a storm,
mate. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that it's not talked about more. And I promise you all now, you'll laugh. I'm gonna look like a genius at some point this year, next year, in 10 years' time. Everyone's gonna be like, remember that Fazz bloke? Fuck, he was onto something. Because it'll change. It will change, mate. It'll change.
You know what? Turns me on, right? I've got to admit, I love Fazz more than most, right? But like honestly, 2 years ago when he started this whole thing that it's the turf, do you know what I mean? Right? Do you know what I mean? 2 years ago, I was like, fuck me, Fazz is an idiot. I can't believe this is his bait. But as the months have gone on, I've started to believe it as well now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've started to get to the stage now where I've returfed my fucking front lawn.
Tell you what, it's legit. Like, it's forget concussions, turf.
Yeah. It's like some QAnon shit. I tell you,
it's trending on Twitter. Hashtag turfspiracy too. So get on it.
You know what I'm going to start doing? Having underneath Fazz, Jim Fazz, turfologist.
Well, it's
LyndenH, true story. True story, and fuck, no one's going to tell him. But we played Bramcote School, and the centre back at Bramcote School was the biggest tit in the world. Used to do my head in, and he always used to towel me up every game. Right, but he had this thing where he'd always go studs high and get away with it. So I spent all night using my nana's nail file to sharpen the alley studs. And I went through him in a tackle, and I cut him to the bone. He went off. And happy end to the story. I actually scored a hat trick because they put this other dude on me. And he was garbage. But legit, totally got away with it. Got away with it. But it's the only time, LyndenH, and I did it because it was our fiercest rivals. So I'm not proud of it, but I did score. But there we are. But no, I agree with you, Fazz, and it's an interesting one because, like Amy said, there's people that look after the turf, and I'm not stupid. I know the EPL is making billions, so they don't have to get Ed Sheeran the week before. I understand. I'm not naive, but my question is, like Amy says, they're meant to look after the turf. Obviously, Ed Sheeran's a huge artist, so you can't really say to him, piss off, mate. Carlton Richmond round one. But surely there was like a workaround, wasn't they? Couldn't they have, like, I don't know, put like a fake stand-up or something? Like something to protect the turf, because the turf is hollowed, isn't it? It's a hallowed turf.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And I think that, it's for a sport who tries and pretends.
He's safe.
For
Still
a sport
alive.
that tries to pretend that it's a multi-billion-dollar worldwide phenomenon like AFL football likes to pretend it is, they've just proven how amateur they really are. Like
it did look bad, didn't it? It did.
Bad. It's bad.
You know what I mean? You thought I Brexit tackled some bloke every week. I was a bad tackler, but generally I hurt you because I was poor at tackling. Well, I wouldn't say poor at tackling. I tried to hurt you. I'll be honest. However, I'm going to be totally honest. That time I deliberately tried to maim someone. So just once. Go on, but there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, while we're here, right, give me your, I won't say high level breakdown because that's Mr. Terry's word. I want a couple of sentences of how the game's going to plan out and how the game ends.
Slow start for the Blues. Come back strong. Lead by 7 points with 2 minutes to go. And you can write the last sentence because I think that'll be the decider.
Oh, come on, Fazz, don't leave me hanging. I'm at My Chemical Romance. I won't know how it ends. What do you mean? What's going to happen in the last 7 minutes? How does it end? Fazz? Oh, well, there we are. Fazz has completely left us hanging by telling us 7 minutes to go. He's going to give us the back end of the story, and he's muted himself. So, I mean, that's nice. Well, yeah. I'll read some of yours while he fixes it.
Can you hear me now?
Fazz is back.
Yeah. So, for me, it was 7 points up with 2 minutes to go, and I'm not going to finish the story. Who knows what'll happen? Do we hold on?
Fucking hell, Fazz.
Do we choke again? Because I tell you now, if we're 7 points up with 2 minutes to go, every single person, man, woman, and child, will not be confident.
Fazz has gone full QAnon again on us. I mean, like I'm half expecting him to make us look through search forums and look for numbers. I'll read some of yours out. Start slow, come back, run away with it. Slog in the centre, quick transitions. That is integral. Counting up by 10 goals, concede the next, just get off the lens yet. You know what? I'm glad I'm not watching this live if that's the case, because I don't think I could cope. I don't have any more tight games left in me. If we play like against the Swans, Michael, let's hope that never happens. Massive momentum base, goals, controlling the game, counting by 1 or 3. I like that. GBC liked your very sexy way of telling us that Counton might lose. Blues fast start, goalless in the last quarter, but still win. Why does no one have faith in us in the fourth quarter?
Just PTSD, I imagine.
See, Amos is better. I can cope with Counton getting battered, right, in the first and then coming back to win. That's relaxing. Jeff, get a new job, mate. Just walk out. TDK to the next step. Martin. Oh, I love this. Charlie, Harry, Martin, and Jesus combined for 17 goals. That's a lot.
Oh, geez, I'm just doing the math there. Oh, like it. I like it.
Do you know what I mean? Hey, mate, you'll see it. I'll post. SH, slog all day. Count by I love this. I've got a story for you. I reckon you are going to see 2 teams with everything to lose and everything to gain. I think the narrative around Richmond turns me on. Spending lots of money, smashing the door open for that Premiership window. I think there's a lot of pressure on them. And I think they've dined out on kicking our ass every round one. And I think it'll hurt. And I'm sure Dimmer heard how he talked to Voss. You can tell he wants it back. He hates the fact that he's going into this a losing thing. Carlton, on the other hand, no point winning last year and finishing 9th if you don't keep winning round one. Round one, we need to start a new trend where we're the dominant force. A lot of question marks. Voss's game plan, is it one-dimensional? Carlton, are they one speed? Carlton, do they have any talent? I think best team available, minus Pitternet. Best team.
I said this a few weeks ago. One thing is for certain. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but there is one absolute certainty that Friday is going to be a bloody long day on social media, on the radio, and everything for whichever team loses. Because whichever team loses is going to cop a shellacking. You're kidding yourself if you don't think that these journals have already got the article written, ready to click send Friday morning.
Mate, and I think what happens is it's a shootout. I think both teams react in an aggressive manner. I think
Hope so.
Richmond will go direct from every intercept. Carlton, direct. I reckon it's going to be the fight of the ages. Carlton goal, Richmond goal. Carlton goal, Richmond goal. Carlton 2 in a row, Carlton 2 in a row. But then the stars align, right? Serge looking down on baby Silvani, 100th game. The G firing. Carlton activate their sub. Out of nowhere, Mark Pitternet is the sub. They bring him on. TDK slides forward. On for Pitternet. On for Martin. And I reckon Jesus scores 3 goals in the last. Carlton win by 12.
Whoa. I would love that. That'd be huge. Get around it. Get around it.
Mate, I reckon it's just going to be a good old-fashioned 1970s slugfest. Slugfest. No team taking a phase back. Both sides wanting to win. And I think what is really important for both sides, not just Carlton winning 2 in a row round 1, not just Richmond proving that all their draft picks, everything like that, big signings, they need to win handsomely as well. A six-point win or an ugly fight isn't what's required. I think it's 2 sides going out saying our side is the best in the league. And I think both sides leave this. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually think both sides, whoever loses, I think comes out smelling of roses anyway, in the terms of it's going to be such a positive brand that everyone's going to be like, hang about. Both of these sides are doing it. I do think both sides will crack the ton. I think, honestly, I actually think this game will end and people will say it's the greatest round 1 fixture of all time.
Wow. Nice.
There's Pom's prediction. And guess what? I'll be singing I'm Not Okay at My Chemical Romance, surrounded by sweaty goths.
Well, it's well, it's actually 10 years ago now. 10 years ago to the round where Richmond beat Carlton for the first time in however many years, and both teams cracked the ton. I think Richmond won 106 to 101 or something like that, or 107 to 101. So yeah, it is 10 years ago now. So,
and I also reckon you're going to see Shai Bolton, right? He's going to kick a goal and he's going to give it a big one. And I'll tell you what, Pommy in Aussie's own, Lockie Cowan, is going to fly the flag. He's going to get straight into him. He's going to pick him up. He's going to get him on the floor. You're going to see Dustin Martin. Thank you very much, baby. You're going to see Dustin Martin. He's going to get involved. Do you know what I mean? Cowan's going to fight back. There's going to be an iconic picture from this game where Cowan is surrounded by 5 Richmond boys. And
love it.
That is the moment the boys see it. The moment the boys go, hang about, we're no longer the boys next door. We're here to take over. I reckon it's going to be a ripping game. I can't wait to watch it. Early hours, Friday morning.
It should be good. Should be good. I'm tipping Richmond, but.
Oh, Fazz!
I've said it for weeks. I can't back my, I've been on the record to say many times, I think we'll start slowly this season, but I think we'll play finals. And I'm going to stand by that.
Mate, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be fine. Calvin, we're going to be all right. I'm telling you, we're going to be all right. Right, let's see. This is probably the worst fixture round in the AFL.
Oh,
let's see
gross.
What's happening in the world of AFL.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I'll pop off when
You know what I am loving? It's trending.
I tipped him to win the flag. Like I can't back it now.
You know what? Your dad and Luca are fast becoming 2 of my favourites.
Look, I'm telling you now, right? I'm telling you, if we win tomorrow night,
when
we're winning the flag. That's how confident I am of us starting slow. If we win tomorrow night, we win the flag. That's as simple as that. Because I don't think a team can beat us if we win tomorrow night. Because I think
that to me. You can't. I'm telling you, Richmond are winning, and then say if we win, we win the flag.
I'm doing it because I'll tell you now. I'll tell you right this minute. We will never be at any point this season in a worse position than we are right this second, as far as players missing fitness-wise, start of the season. We will never be in a worse position. So if we can win this week, then I'm telling you, the sky's the limit. The sky's the absolute limit. I'm not stressed about it. People are saying I'm negative. I'm actually not stressed about it. It doesn't bother me. Like, because I think we're going to go all right.
You're killing me. You're giving me this. You're giving me 1 or 10. I need 5.
I don't deal in fives, mate. It's either. I actually made the comment. To my old man during the week. I said, Carlton is the type of team. I genuinely believe this. There's no middle ground with them. They're either going to completely implode and finish bottom 6, or they're going to come out and finish top 4 and actually just. I don't think we're going to be that team that finishes in that 7 to whatever. I don't think we're in it, because if we get on a roll, no one's stopping us. There's not a team in the competition that'll stop this Carlton team when they're on a roll. But if the mental demons get stuck in, then there's not a team we can beat, because we're so fragile. So I generally think we're such a bipolar team that I don't think we're going to be in that middle tier. It's either we're going to be whole hog or no hog. What does it say?
Yeah.
No, all duck and no dinner or something.
All hog or no hog. I prefer that. No hog. Where's the hog?
Yeah, whole hog, no hog. Yeah.
Amy's moving to Melbourne. There you are. Look. Well, I mean, if Amy moves and we win the flag, we'll have to piss her off back to WA and then fly her back over for next year
Every
as well.
year.
And keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
So, but we have got other games. I will be live for my wife's team, St Kilda Fremantle.
Yeah,
We've done
love that.
previews with them. But let's do a team game, right? So Fazz is tipping Richmond. I'm tipping Carlton round 1, right?
Done.
Geelong, Collingwood. Chat, what are you saying in that? And Fazz, Geelong, Collingwood.
All right. Geelong are going to win this game by so much that Craig McRae is going to be under pressure. That is how comfortable Geelong are going to be Friday night.
Jesus, that's...
And maybe not even like a margin, but I think Geelong are going to be so comfortable, Collingwood don't even look like getting near them. And they'll have the queue in the rack halfway through the third quarter.
See, I have Collingwood by 8.
Oh, well, look at us go.
You're
Together
starting
we
to make
make
me question this selection.
Together we make half a decent tipper.
Just genuinely now, I've actually just hovered over my tip selection. I'm like, oh, Dan. Jesus. All right, North Eagles.
North Melbourne.
North at Vic. Yeah, I reckon it's a Clarko return to form, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Clarko factor. Port versus Brisbane.
Geez, I don't want to get sucked into pre-season form, but that's all we can go by. And Port Adelaide looked dog shit. So I've got to go Brisbane, even though it's at Adelaide. I've just got to go Brisbane. I want to say Port because I hate Brisbane, or nothing Brisbane, to be honest. They are nothing to me.
Genuinely shocked you took Brisbane.
It just makes me feel gross. But Port Adelaide has got a lot to do to prove me, to get me on board. I think Brisbane's pre-season has been pretty flawless.
They're another team though under pressure. Like I would say, like Richmond, they've gone big. Like whether Brisbane want to admit it or not, managing to get Will Ashcroft and Dunkley in the same window and still having some change left over for Jasper Fletcher. And somehow managing to manipulate a system for a kid who retired in Connor McKenna. They've had a big off season, and I would say they got Fagan 6 weeks before the season signed on an extension as well.
Yeah,
the press are gonna love if they lose that. If they 100%. Lose that under pressure, but I think the Lions are too good, too strong. Then we go to the G, Melbourne Doggies. Where are we, ladies and gents, with Melbourne Dogs?
I keep reading that Melbourne have got a few injury concerns, but to me, the second most irrelevant and boring team in the competition behind Brisbane is the Bulldogs. So I think Melbourne. I'm not even going to watch that game. It's just going to just bore me to sleep. But I think Melbourne will just do the business.
I reckon Melbourne by 45.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very comfortable.
I've got a feeling that Melbourne go up another level. I actually think Melbourne have the team to beat this year. This is an intriguing one. Suns at the Heritage Bank Stadium. I love the Metricon's new name. Very, very posh for a modern day ground. Versus Swans.
Yeah, I've got Sydney. I've got Sydney on this one. Look, Gold Coast do traditionally start their seasons pretty well, but I've got Sydney.
I think Sydney, lot to prove. This one's an intriguing one. GWS at Giant Stadium versus the much fancied Crows.
Right. Now, looking back at the tips, there's a lot of away teams that have been tipped so far, and the obvious one to go here is Adelaide, right? Because people aren't rating GWS, people are rating Adelaide, but I genuinely believe history and statistics will say that not this many away teams will win. So I'm going, this is the upset of the round. I'm going to say GWS will get over Adelaide.
I'm not tipping an upset here. I think the Crows will win. I fancy the Crows this year. I do fancy them. Hawks at the G against our old enemy, Essendon. This is kind of like a choice between which guy chosen at random would you rather bang your wife?
Oh, mate. Looking at this game, I might take the kids out. You know how much I love. You know how much I love spending some quality time with the family. I might take the kids out 3 o'clock on the Sunday Arvo because this game is shit. Essendon, just because I've got a few mates who go for the Bombers, and I want to see them.
I'm going to go Hawks. I'm going to go Smitchell masterclass against Brad Scott, and I'm doing this one live, and the more I think about it, I might have picked a game that might be the equivalent of paint drying. But St Kilda, Fremantle.
The Saints.
Ross Ryan masterclass.
Yep. I don't care about their injury list. I keep seeing it. But I think if there's one team who's more mentally fragile than the Carlton Football Club, it's Fremantle. So I think Saints will get over them.
Really?
Honestly, mate.
St Kilda's injury list rivals the second day of the Battle of the Somme.
It's big. It's big, and I think that's really going to show how terrible Fremantle are.
Mate, Carlton fans can never complain about injuries when I have looked at honestly,
mate, it's diabolical. It's diabolical.
I am actually a little bit scared because, you know what I mean? I have a family membership for St Kilda with the kids and my name's on it. And I'm actually scared that Ross will find out that I'm 6'2" and I played forward in football and he'll be like, Pom, you want to play key forward against Freo this weekend? I reckon Freo will absolutely pants St Kilda. I fear for St Kilda. I have been consistent. I actually think Ross is the worst. I don't believe. I know, all due respect to St Kilda fans, I know he's been saying, I've changed. But do old coaches learn new methods at that age? I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to work. But my tip's not so much about St Kilda as it is about Fremantle. I think they're mentally fragile. I don't think that they don't. And everyone will come at me when I make this statement. Every single person will come at me, and I know they will. But I'm going to preface by saying a great player does not make you a great leader, and there is not a single leader at an entire football club. And everyone say 5. No. He's not a leader's asshole. He's a great player, one of the best we've seen, but he's not a leader's asshole. And I honestly, the fact that they named Alex Pearce captain, to me, that's alarm bells. Like ding, 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 ding. You guys are fucked.
I don't like it. I feel for them. Is the show family friendly? I don't know. I don't think we swear that much, but I mean, my
fuck
kids
your family. They should be in bed.
And there's the answer. And then we finish with mine and Fazz's thoughts. We've got a few questions here for you all. Well, here we are. Okay, so I thought we'd do some fun ones. We know Fazz loves a little bit of a negative, but first, who do you think the first coach is to be sacked this year?
Ken Hinkley.
Ken Hinkley?
Yep.
Reasons why?
Because the South Australian media are a pack of dogs and they'll come after him. They're already coming after him. Kane Corns will get on there and he'll come after him. And we always know where there's smoke, there's fire. So
does anyone else feel with Ken Hinkley that he is that guy that, like, it's almost like they want to sack him, but he's kind of like a cockroach, isn't he? He just seems to he just doesn't. He seems to survive all the time. Like, just when you think, oh, this is it, somehow gets a contract extension, you're like, what?
Yeah, nah, I think he's on borrowed time. And I like Ken. I think he's a good bloke. But yeah, I think he'll be the first to go. I don't really think there's many others who are overly under a lot of pressure. Maybe Stuart Dew, but I don't think they're in a position to sack a coach early on in the season.
Do you know who I think, and this is a controversial one? I think Simpson at Eagles.
Oh, that's a good call.
Oh, Ben here, he loves it as well. I have a sneaky feeling. I just think I was listening to some of the narrative. Yeah. Oh, Amy agrees as well. I was listening to some of the narrative and I was listening to them and they were going on about, like, I was listening to Eagles and Simpson was saying, oh, I don't think we're in such a bad position because people forget we've got Sheedy, flag winner. We've got Shuey. Do you know what I mean? And he started talking about the experience and I was thinking, you're signing your own death warrant here.
Yeah.
Because I look at your team and just see a load of young guys and some guys that should have retired about 4 years ago, in my opinion. You're now starting to big their influence up. And my question is, when you look at last year, I thought their leadership absolutely pissed it up the wall. I looked at them and I thought their leaders didn't stand up and left their kids to hang out to dry. I genuinely think they can do it. And I think he'll be gone very soon. Like Gav's saying round 10. I could see him be gone by about round 6, round 7.
Yeah. That's early. I like it.
I could see there be like a player revolt. Everyone kicks off. Do you know what I mean? And they get rid of him.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I didn't really think about Adam Simpson. I think that's a great call. I think it's a great call.
He's just a guy I think gets away with a lot because I actually thought last year was a disgrace. And I know that I listened to a lot of the WA pundits and they were like, oh, but we had COVID. And I'm like, for 2 games?
Yeah.
You were dog shit before and after.
They still beat Collingwood, by the way. So
no, but I actually thought when they had their COVID replacements, they actually looked better.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I'm with you.
That COVID game, they had like 10 COVID replacements. I actually thought they were better than their actual players. I was like, Jesus, I'd be telling everyone's got COVID for the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, because they couldn't get him fit. And then I hear Yo again, a calf again missing. You know,
who replaces Simpson? Big Pom call. Nathan Buckley.
Shit. I was thinking similar era. Scott Burns. I know he did a lot of assistant coaching there. So, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No. Honestly, I like it. No, I like it. Burns is good. Yeah, I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling Buckley will be back in football sooner rather than later. I just think he's. I've just got a horrible feeling.
Yeah,
I've got a feeling that Buckley will be like. I reckon it'll be like it'll be an interim coach till the end of the year, and then I reckon they'll go mental when Buckley will come.
There must be something wrong with Carousella though. He's always linked to every job and never seems to get it, or whether he wants it. I don't know. There must be something wrong with him. Bad breath or something. I don't know.
To be honest, though, you know what pisses me off about it? and I don't know what everyone else thinks. Do you think in AFL, it's not like a football in my country where they seem to not give anyone a new chance? It seems to be like there seems to be like 8 coaches that are evidently on a conveyor belt to get selected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you never, very rarely do you, they actually go and get a young up and coming coach. Like you see in the EPL. Like it's like you never see them go to state football. Like, oh, this guy here's won 4 flags at Sandford level. Let's maybe him. It's always, oh, this dude used to help
done an apprenticeship and done all that. Yeah. Nah, it's true. It's true. And not many second chances either. I know Voss is a, one that we've given a second chance to. So we'll see.
Tell you what is your thoughts on the sub rule? And while you do that, if I don't go for a wee now, I will wee myself. So you answer that question. Give everyone your thoughts. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Sub rule. I don't know. To me, it's just much of the same. They go, we'll introduce a sub, then we'll take it away. Then we'll introduce a medical sub, and we'll take it away. I mean, the criticism about the sub rule very early on was that Boomer Harvey broke the game's record holder because he got to be sub for 12 months or whatever it was. So I don't like it personally. I love the idea of just, being a part of some of your best stories are when down to no players on the bench and you get up and win the game. These players are fit boys, limited rotations. How much does an injury really change it? When Pommy gets back, I think you'll agree with me. To me, I don't see why you just can't have 10, 12, 15 blokes. Have your whole squad on the bench. Why does it matter if you've got limited rotations? So I just know. I don't like it personally. So looking at what other people are saying, just have 23 per side, yeah. Basically returning to the rules around 10 years ago, shit. Rather extended bench, good for rucks and older players, yeah, all that. It's how long before, I don't know. I just don't get. I'm glad the medical sub's gone. I'd much rather a sub than this a medical sub, but to me, I'm not. It's not for me.
Nah, I agree with you. I heard it because the toilet's not that far away. But I'd love to. I would love to see them. I'm glad they got rid of the medical thing because I thought that was so grey that it. You know what annoys me about the AFL, and I like having an AFL rant. When they make a rule, isn't it amazing that you can see the issues before they happen? So, like the stand on the mark rule, they've adapted that now so you can't fake. But that was fucking obvious that eventually someone was going to be like handball over the top or something like that. Like someone was going to have that idea to get cheap 50s, and suddenly the AFL, Jesus, people are manipulating it. And he was like, well, it was obvious. Like when the rules were written down, it was easy. And then like you had Richmond say, I think it was Jaden Short won it. He had migraine symptoms. We activated a medical sub. It was obvious someone was going to take the piss with that rule. When
that drove me
it was
insane,
like
that shit.
Any medical reason, it was obvious. You just come up with something like, he's gastro. Can't really prove it.
It's just it's like I jammed me ball bag too hard. It's just there's always something you can come up with. I don't know. To me, I'm glad the medical one's gone. I don't particularly like the sub. I'm just I don't know. Fucking play football. I don't know. It just drives me insane. Just play football. The turf's the biggest issue anyway, as we said. Not concussions. So just play football.
No, I agree with you. I just think the sub rule, I like the sub rule because I think that there needs to be more tactical nuance in AFL. And I kind of like seeing it. I kind of like seeing it. I think it's a nice addition. I like anything that encourages coaches to have some pre-planning and some strategy in game.
Yeah, I will agree with you. The moment, so I don't agree with you yet, but I'll agree with you the moment a coach drags someone at quarter time.
It'd be nice.
I would love, imagine that. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen to us, but you could imagine Thursday night, quarter time, Voss, you off sub. Love it. I love it.
I
there's
love
nothing
it if Jack Martin
sexier.
does that thing where he goes like lazy for a quarter. Quarter time goes, Voss goes right, sub-activated, O'Brien in.
Yeah, and anyone who follows the world game knows there's no bigger flex or alpha move than when the manager does this. The old hook. Come down here, son, or a sub at halftime. It is the biggest alpha move ever. So I'll agree with you that it'll add more nuance to the game when a coach does that at a quarter time or very early in the game. That's not for an injury.
And we're always here with controversial ones, right? So I'm going to do it here. What one rule would you add to the AFL? So you can add a rule. What rule would you have?
That any kick inside 50, regardless of distance, is a mark.
I like that.
Any kick. Like that. So if you kick it 5 meters inside 50, it's a mark.
I like that.
Yeah. I think it'd increase scoring. I think it'd increase forward craft. I think it'd just be better.
I'm going to cheat. I've got two, right? Oh. One, I would ban kicks behind. Kicks behind aren't marks. So going backwards, not a mark. Has to be either laterally or forward.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Right? Just to try and encourage the game to be faster. And Richard's got this one as well. I'd have, like the throwing rule in football, I'd remove the boundary throw. And if it goes out of play, regardless, last person who touched it, their ball. Because I find that, I just don't understand how that is even in the game. I think there should be a punishment for removing it out of play.
I consider myself a pretty well thought, see, I can't even get the words out. A well-learned man. I can't really yet on the spot think of a way that clubs could manipulate the play on kicking backwards, but I can see a way clubs could manipulate and actually make the game almost worse with the free kick out of bounds. Because to me, if I'm the coach, I'm clogging the midfield then. And I think ball movement would just be stifled because two teams would be too scared to go wide just in case they fuck up a kick. So you're going to have this case where you're going to have 40 blokes just smack bang in the middle, just clogged. So that's the only thing I can see that shit teams will try and clog the midfield and it'll just be a slog fest. Very similar to like parking the bus as you would in soccer terms. My other one was because it fucking frustrates me week in, week out, and I feel like we talk about it week in, week out. Just let the fuckers throw the ball. Remove the handball. They fucking do it every week anyway. Might as well just let them throw the ball.
George Gregan. All right. And my next one, right? What rule would you remove?
What rule would I remove?
So a rule that's in, what would you remove?
The third, does it count? The third man up rule. I'd remove that. I'd like you to be able to send a third man up in a ruck contest.
I would remove the nomination.
Similar.
I would change it and say that it is literally when the umpire's ready to play. So, do you know what I mean? And whoever happens to be there, but the ball goes.
I agree with Aussie Nick here. To me, I love it when it's on your end, but the 50-meter penalty in modern footy, it's an automatic shot on goal. Unless you give it away in your last line of defence, it is such a harsh penalty. And I'm not one for this whole.
I like that, Michael.
Yeah, I'm not one for this whole, different meter penalties versus for what different rule breaking, like people saying make the stand rule only 20-meter penalty or whatever. To me, that's even more confusing. I would just reduce 50-meter penalties to 20 or 30 because it just kills you. It absolutely kills you.
You know what I would like to say? You know what? This is brilliant from Darren.
Yes. I say this every week.
we have said this on the watch along a lot. Why the fuck is it up to the umpire when we take advantage, which then gives the advantage to the opposition? Like, you watch football, advantage is deadly in the right moment because you can just manipulate an opposition's backline. Yeah. Like, sometimes their defenders laying on the ground doing his shoelace. He's remonstrating with the linesman, but when the umpire goes in football, game over.
It's true, and I say it all the time. How deadly, like you just said, would proper advantage be at AFL level? It would be insane. It would open up the game. It would increase scoring. It'd do everything they'd want to do, and all the umpire has to do is not take 1 or 2 more seconds to blow the whistle. Hold on to the whistle. Hold on. He's out. Advantage. And people can scream free cricket, but as soon as you see the arms go up, you're like, okay, cool. Or whatever it is. No, advantage. That's the one. As soon as you see that, cool. But they blow the whistle, players stop, and then they do it. It looks shit, and it's actual shit. So no, I love that. That is actually the best call ever.
I want a beer with Michael.
Yeah, fight to the death.
And Ben. Do you know what I mean? Just make it the fucking Gladiators. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. 23 men arrive, but only one will leave. Mate, I like it. You know what, as well, and this is to touch on all of you guys, right? And this is just culture, right? I played football, soccer, as you guys will call it, for 2 years over here, and I got booked a lot in England, right? And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't the cleanest record. But you know what fucks me off is all of Australian sports, and this is no disrespect to your great nation, you pay way too much fucking respect to authority. Like, I remember playing football over here and me saying, are you fucking all right at home, ref? Which in the UK, well, the referee would genuinely be a bit worried about, like, we're actually honoured you've asked him a question about his home life. I got booked, right? Yellow card for swearing at him. And I'm like, you're a fucking referee. Like, your job is to be sworn at by me for 90 minutes. I would love that the umpires in this game, because a lot of them 50s are umpire dissent, and I draw the line when you see bollocks like this. Like, remember that 50 Danger got for doing that, right? Being explained the decision and going, nah, bollocks. That's not dissent. That's him in the heat of the moment on 800k a fucking year, wanting to win a flag and wanting to fucking not being happy with the call, right? Like, that's like when a traffic warden goes, you've been 5 minutes. You're like, fuck off, mate. I was 3. You're upset. I would love to see someone say to the umpires, you're getting paid quite handsomely for this. It's a high-pressure sport. They're not going to call you sir, right? If an umpire is upset that someone's been telling them to fuck off, mate, get a real job then.
No, I'm with you. I couldn't agree more. Someone at AFL House or wherever needs to actually get the definition of dissent and really understand what it means, because showing frustration in a moment at yourself is not dissent. I mean, gee whiz, if I got in trouble every time I questioned my bosses at work, oh, for fuck's sake, mate. Like, you can't be in a position of power and not expect to be questioned, or at most disagreed with.
Like, I don't want people to get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can intimidate them or punch them, but there has to be robust conversations. Like, when I was playing football, you'd be told. Do you know what I mean? You would be told when you've crossed the line, and it was always worded quite firmly, that's enough. And that was the point you'd walk away. I used to love getting in front of a ref, getting really intimidating. But as soon as he blew his whistle and said, that's enough now, number 8, go back to your station, I'd be like, okay. Right? Do you know what I mean? I'd drop it out of respect, but I would be willing to say, what the fuck? That wasn't offside. Or, what the fuck, ref? Look at, fuck, how's he get the ball? And I would be a bit emotive, but the ref would understand that I was just in the heat of the game. And every time, we were always taught as kids, you go up to the referee, good, bad, indifferent, you shake his hand, you say, thank you very much, ref, for your work today. Really appreciate it. I I don't buy into, and I know people are saying local football.
Yeah, I've got a big issue with this.
I never saw a player when I was a kid do drugs, do alcohol, beat his wife up, smash a car, punch a ref, scream at a ref and go, oh, fuck, I'm going to do that. Right? Do you know what I mean? I worship them as footballers. I still think that's such a cop-out.
It's the biggest cop-out.
Because a good ref, I can tell you, playing in a rough part of the Northeast, that they copped abuse. The good refs, though, were the ones that understood the difference between physical intimidation and frustration, right? And all of the refs I played under, I'd say 95.9, if they blew the whistle, so that's enough, boys. That's enough, gentlemen. Our captains were good captains, would pull you away physically. Yep. Be like, shut the fuck up. Go back up front.
I am so big on this, doing it for grassroots and all that. The reason they don't have enough up and coming umpires is they don't get paid enough. Because I don't care what anyone says. You pay a bloke enough money, they'll shovel shit for a living. I don't care what anyone says. It's the money. All right. I'll shovel shit for twice what I'm getting paid right now. Do it. Right. That's just what it's the money. As far as this for lower grade, I get it. I do understand they want to stop the abuse at lower grade levels, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. So the AFL can't stand up and say, we're trying to make it safe at junior level for umpires. And our juniors look up to, which they do. I work in a school. I can tell you now, they do look up to these players, right? So you can't have your cake and eat it too. When you got Trent Cotchin putting his elbow in someone's throat, no issues. But if you want to protect junior footy in that, then crack down on that shit. Not umpires. Not dissent towards umpires. Now I'm not saying we should crack down on the Trent Cotchin thing because, to be honest, the more of that, the better. You know, a bit rough and tumble. But you can't be half pregnant, right? You can't be half in one camp and half in the other. You can't.
Your analogies today.
But it's true. You can't be. We're trying to protect junior level when all you're doing is about the umpires. There is so much more wrong with junior sport than people abusing umpires. And 90% of the time, and I did set 95, nearly 98% of the time, it's not the fucking players doing it at junior level. It's the parents. It's the fans. So, how do we change the game? Let's make the fans even angrier at umpires.
Can I just say, when I watch my kids play football, can I just be totally honest? All you will hear from the touchline is, "What was that, ref? It's the ball, ref. It's big and round."
But mate, I tell you, you pay them enough, they'll shovel shit. Pay them.
I've got to say, I'm never abusive to the refs. On the watch along, yes, but I always do go up to the ref after, shake his hand, and say thank you very much for your time today. Yeah. Mark of respect. You know the other one, right? And you'll like this. This is maybe a comedy one. I would have a mandatory 4-week game ban for anyone who grabs another player's shirt, doesn't throw a punch. Because you know what? Fucking annoys me, right? And I tell my kids this as well because it is becoming in vogue to, push each other and wait for the big centre-back to come and protect you. Bollocks, right? Bollocks. As soon as you grab the shirt, it's fucking on, right? Why are you doing it? I hate seeing in AFL, I call it faux action man rubbish. Hate it when you see Isaac Heaney giving it large to Brodie Grundy. You know Brodie Grundy, if he slaps him, Isaac Heaney's probably dead. Don't do it. Either do something about it or just fucking walk away. Like, I hate the pretend jumper pulling.
It's like I always say, mate, don't bring piss to a shit fight. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. They're just trying to, big themselves up. I'm with you. Just, that whole, don't know about a mandatory 4-game suspended, but I'm with you. Like, it's false bravado, like.
Mate, winds me up. And I've got to say, it's not an Australian thing. Like, in the UK, as I got older playing round ball, the amount of younger kids that would start doing it to you, and you're like, mate, are we gonna throw a punch or what are you doing? Like, get off me. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you want my shirt, I'll give you at the end. And the other one, I'd like to see coaches bringing in some philosophies. So I've always said if I was Carlton coach, right, mandatory dropping for anyone who does that fucking dribble, that little dainty chip kick, back half. Anyone who does it, don't care if it's Cripps, Doherty, Sard, that little fucking chip kick. You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
They've got the forward press set. You can see out if they switch it, they're out. And some dickhead has the audacity, the Tars, to do that little dribble fucking kick. Put Lockie O'Brien under a heap of pressure. 8 forwards, crunch him and turn. Whoever, honestly, it would be a week. I don't care who you are. You could have 3 Brownlow votes. The minute that shit comes out, banned for a week.
I like it. Yeah. Because then what happens is I'm probably going to open a can of worms here, but it's always the same blokes who cop the end of that kick. It's always going to O'Brien or going to a Plowman or whoever, and then we bury them. Fucking O'Brien, he's soft. He's just been looped a kick. Mate. Yeah.
Mate, honest to fuck, like the bomb kick as well. And it's not so much because the bomb kick it's the AFL coaching manual. When you're in trouble, go down the wing. The bomb kick that fucks me off is when there is no pressure. And you saw it in the Sydney game all the first quarter. Like, the nearest Sydney player is at the arc. And Carlton are bomb kicking it down the wing, 15 metres of fucking space. Like, honestly, I think coaches need, if I was the coach of Carlton Football Club, bomb kick under 0 pressure, week off.
You mean the
chip kick? And the big one, this would get you 6 weeks. Any dickhead, right, who handballs when the receiver has his back to you, you get 6 fucking weeks. 6 weeks. And if you're the receiver who it hits on the back, you get 2 weeks for not fucking looking where you're going. That annoys me, honestly. And a maximum of 12 weeks for anyone who has the audacity to do a no-look handball in D50. In D50. How did it in Sydney? I lost my banana. The whole... Don't do it.
Far be it from me to shoot Bambi here, but when I hear bomb kick, you're talking about the Sam Doherty special, aren't you? The bomb kick with no pressure.
Yeah, Doc is partial to it.
Partial? Fucking hell, mate. Every second kick he does is that kick. And I love Doc as much as the next person, but fuck me.
Lewis Young is guilty of the worst form of the bomb kick, right?
Oh, mate.
Lewis Young does that bomb kick that comes down with fucking ice on it. So, not only is it that kick, right? It's not only is it putting pressure on, but it goes so high up that the opposition side manages to get 18 fuckers around the fall of the ball.
My thing about Lewis Young is he's really good because he jumps and spoils like a man who's 200 centimeters tall, but fuck, he kicks like a man who's 200 centimeters tall as well. So,
mate, honestly, it kills me. And, Jason... Honestly, I'd probably have no players, right? Jason, and do you know what I mean? But I actually, think they'd learn pretty quickly because honestly, Luca, it was Dow. Honestly,
mate,
the no look handball. I don't mind it in the corridor. I don't even mind it in the forward 50. But in D50, when you're wrapped up, fucking risk getting caught holding the ball.
Yeah,
because I've never seen a Carlton player do a no-look handball, apart from, I think, Cherrer and Hewitt, and actually hit a prick in blue.
Actually, that's the point. You just made a point that really got in my head then. One thing that frustrates me about Carlton is they almost want to get rid of the ball when they've got it. How many times do you see us be tackled and we quickly try and do a rush handball, whether it's in the ground or wherever it is? It happens a lot in our forward line, actually. In our forward line, we're so quick to try and get the handball away that we lose it and it's cleared. And so many times I'm like, fucking just take the tackle. You're not going to get done for holding the ball. You've literally been tackled as you pick the ball up, but they're so insistent on trying to flick the ball around when you got 30 blokes around you.
Mate,
we lose it all the time.
Does my banana.
Take the tackle.
You know the other one, and seeing we're having rants, I'm getting it all out before the season starts.
It's good before the first game. We get it all out now.
You know the other one as well. This would probably get a lifetime ban, right? The same fucking kicking, right? This one does my head in.
I know where you're going with this.
Every Carlton game where the forward press is good. Carlton are struggling to get it out of D50. So they resort to give it to Doherty. It's usually Doherty who's forced to take the kick in as well. And it just literally goes 60 meters up the wing. He doesn't even run out of the square. So that's the thing that annoys me with the rule change. And I keep screaming at the TV, why don't you give it to Sard? Why don't you give it to Sard? And tell him to run to about 40 and then bong the bugger. Because I don't mind the dump kick when it's Doherty in the midfield because he's got 2 lines to defend the transition. But you turn it over there when it's a kick in, you might as well give a fucking goal.
And I think the thing about the kick in, and I'm sure someone who's more in tune with footy or whatever could explain it to me. And it obviously wouldn't work every time. But you know, when everyone bunches up, 10 to 12 players bunched up in there, why isn't just someone running on their own on the other side? And you've got the whole ground open. You only have to do it once or twice and you get 2 goals out of it. And then eventually you wouldn't be able to do it anymore. But I've never actually seen a team even attempt it, even try, even just like, you know what? There's heaps of blokes. I might just going to leave my man and see if he's going to hit me on the wing. Do you know what I mean? Like it blows my mind.
You know it's happening to Carlton as well. And Fazz has just touched on it there by accident. Is even before we've retrieved the ball from the behind, you will see TDK, Charlie Curnow, and Cripps oscillating in that right 60. We might as well have handed the opposition's forward line saying, I'm going to kick it fucking there. Do you know what I mean? It's and I'm with you because there's so many times because the way you naturally set up to defend your own kicking as well always has someone left halfback flank. And he's usually covered. They usually put a token man on him. I'm with, and I know Gav agrees with me, why don't you utilize the run as far you can? Because if Sard took off, he's going to draw that guy in. And then it's a simple chip kick there. And once you're at the 55, your biggest kick's defendable. If you kick it as far as you can, you've probably got 2 lines of defense. And do it. But honestly, quickest way to wind Pom up. If Voss is watching, that fucking kicking, it winds me up. And you see it all the time. And it's usually about 4 or 5 behinds in. They're still doing it. And you're like, please, someone just kick the fucking ball. Not there.
And our inability to go coast to coast from a behind, yet other teams' ability to go coast to coast when we've got a behind. I don't know. It's second to none.
Mate, I'm with you. And I agree. I think sometimes, and this is why I'm excited about Doc going midfield, because I'd like to see Cowan, his kick 65, 70. Like, you go back to watch that Collingwood game, 70 meters kick from like D50 straight over the top. It's sexy. Sard, like, you watch the best kicking exponents, Port Adelaide are masters of this. They run off diagonally and then kick the opposite way. And if you go back and watch the Adelaide game, Jordan Dawson was having a field day. He runs that way, then kicks that way. And Carlton's zonal systems are like,
they're out.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. But I'd like to see a little bit of difference, but they're the ones that really annoy me. Really annoy me. Me. As for positives, got Charlie Curnow.
Yeah. There's plenty of positives.
Fast ball movement in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, once it gets to, that's what annoys that Gav. That's why I'm annoyed. Because once it's in the middle and contested, it's pretty good. So somewhere between that kicking and midfield, if you can sort that out, it's fucking perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think, the positives, just get it forward. I think one thing that is quite shocking that a lot of people have kind of forgotten is that round 1 last year, Harry and Charlie kicked 1 goal between them. So the positive to look for tomorrow is I think they've got the potential to absolutely tear the game apart. So that'll be exciting.
Mate, Mackay and Kerner, they can destroy that back line. It's funny because the way Carlton have got to beat them is playing to their strength, give them intercept opportunities. But it's a risk reward because Harry should be looking and Charlie going, ha ha, ha. Do you know what I mean? Like they should be looking at that and going, oh, my Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Hanukkah, everything. It's all color lined. I'm playing 192 backman. Do you know what I mean? That should be it. And I hope Carlton do something we don't often see Voss dictate, and that is go inside 50 at all options. I'd love, with Doc playing midfield, you've suddenly got that option to go early, which I think some of our players can't. I think some of our mids can't kick that flat distance kick, where Doc is pretty good at that flat 40, 50-meter kick. I'd love to see it go in early. Give Charlie and Harry the best options.
I'm with you.
Mate, we've gone over time, 20 minutes. Pom's had a rant. I feel better, though. I've got no negativity going into this. Sorry, Fred Blogs, for fruity language. I've never heard it be called fruity language. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you all next week where we review Carlton's decimation of Richmond. Stay safe. Look after yourself. Much love. My favourite time of the week. Go and follow Fazz as well. He's good fun. Much love, everyone.
Good fun.
God Blues.
See yous.